Welcome, Annette.
Hi, Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Adam.
We are back. We are back after God knows how long. 11th of August was our last show. 11th of August, which obviously we did take a break because obviously I supported Kerry because we've now got a newborn. Hence why I look practically shattered, but it's okay. How are you, lovely ladies, anyway?
Good.
I'm good.
Great.
I know you're great, aren't you? Yeah. No, we've been busy, me and Andrea, because she's been helping me, obviously personally as well, because we're doing this advanced social psychology course, and
Sorry, this is ridiculous. It's right over my house. Sorry, guys.
yeah, I'm doing social psychology, and I'm literally one question away from submitting module 4 of 6. Which I've
Yeah.
covered it, which I've touched on criminology now, aren't we?
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Go, Adam.
everyone, if you want to know, we've invited Annette here because the topic is mental health and becoming a new parent. So, obviously, I did send this to a few others, see if they wanted to hop on, but if they show up, that happy days. But Andrea Mason, who's literally below me, she's going to be scared tonight because she's got a thunderstorm. Happens. Well, she's just braiding her hair as usual. So, so Andrea Evans, long time no see.
Yes, it's been a while. I've been a busy little bee.
Yes. Yeah. So obviously we'll kick start with the intro. Yeah, I'm absolutely sweating here. Heat wave being a redhead. It's not a good combination. So we'll do the intro and then we'll dive into it and find out everyone's experience with this. So
Okay.
see you soon. Welcome back, all. So Annette, welcome.
Thank you. It's been a while. I haven't even hosted my own show mostly this summer because I've been so engrossed in doing markets and fairs and helping people with their mental health and just getting more bookings. It's been busy and I'm loving it. I'm doing a new whole line of wellness products for mental health and it's just exciting time. Very exciting time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think if it wasn't for Wyatt being very active tonight, which he looks like he's fell asleep on Kerry, I think Kerry would literally pour a nice bucket all over me right now, like she did last time.
Yeah.
Which I would be open to that. I would be open to it.
And that's where we met. To Andrea. Thanks to Andrea.
It was, yes. So, mental health and becoming a new parent. Now, I can't speak from a mother's perspective, a maternal, so give us a little bit of a heads up, you three, with what the hell goes on in your mindset. Because I know everyone's got their own perception on perspective on things.
I'm going to raise my hand so I don't jump in, over talk somebody, so I get a pick first.
Go on, Annette.
Let's do that.
I just-
Let's raise our hand when we want to speak, Annette. I like that idea.
Yeah, and then Adam can pick who he wants to speak to first. I wanted to mention, before we jump into the parenting thing, that if you notice, we are the 4 A's.
The what?
A's. Andrea, Adam, Andrea.
Yes.
Annette. I thought that was cute.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I wanted to jump in and talk about mental health and parenting because I'm so happy you invited me, Adam, because my daughter-in-law, I wish she was on today with us too. I could have invited her. I didn't even think of it, but I know you'll have this show again. And she had my granddaughter about 19 months ago. So, you know, she's a new parent. Again, she has an older daughter. But I was able to experience through her the mental health issues around parenting and having a new baby. And it was very educational, to say the least, because now from my perspective, it's from a granddaughter. So I had no reason whatsoever to have any problems with mental health around having a new baby in my life. It was absolutely a joy. But I seen what my daughter-in-law has been struggling with, having been diagnosed with bipolar as well. She will go through episodes of depression and anxiety and self-doubt and everything that's attributed to when you struggle with a mental illness. And, you know, there came a point where, you know, it's kind of touch and go when you have someone struggling so deeply with mental health. But I did my best to stay calm, use my wisdom from our show, from my life experiences, and helped and guided her as best as I could. And you know what I found out? Being a new parent, parents just really, really, when it comes to their mental health being poor with being a new parent, is they need a break. They need a break from all the screaming and the diapering and not having time with their spouse and things like that. And that's where I filled the shoes for their mental health, like both her and my son, because I found giving people a break. I know some people can't get it, and I really feel for them. But hopefully you have friends, family that can support you during this time, because it's not easy being a new parent. When I remember my firstborn, it was, you know, I dropped my daughter on her head once. It was awful.
Mm.
So that's my take on that, and you guys can talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, welcome, Stella. We can see your comments, so
Hi,
say whatever
Stella.
you need to say. Stella
Hi,
is Andrea Evans's mother. So yes.
Mama.
So you know what? I think we should cover it. And you know what? I'm going to blame Andrea Mason for this. I'm going to blame her because doing this psychology course, we've been touching on cultures as well.
Mhm.
So I want to talk. I want to ask you, Andrea, from a Latino background, what is mental health like in that culture when you become that first parent for the very first time?
Absolutely. Excellent question. Yes, we have been covering a lot in the psychology course, and I'm just honored to walk beside you. So, in the Latino community, although I was grown up in America, I was raised in America. Latino, to my understanding, when I hang out with family and relatives and even friends of that descent, it's a camaraderie, it's a unity. And for the older generations, it's kind of dismissed, swept under the carpet. It's kind of like, well, they're special, they're unique in their own way, they're different, and they don't address it on the surface. Other areas of communities that I have engulfed in with the Latino population, more recent, they sit down and talk about it. They get it out on the floor because there's no other outlets. It's so taboo in some cultures that they don't have the expertise, they don't have the experience, they don't have the knowledge. And so they unite within their own core. So what I believe, for me, my unfortunately motherhood was difficult because I lost my mother before. I was able to become a mother. And it was just so, how do you become a mother when you don't have that confidence, but let alone that assurance of, hey, I've been there, done that, don't worry about it. I kind of self-taught myself along with my family. So I would say culture plays a huge impact, whether it's taboo or it's embraced. But what it's the unspoken word of bringing it to the forefront. Hey, yes, they're different, they're special. It's kind of goes to that Disney movie. They don't, let's not talk about Bruno. Let's not talk about that person who's different. Let's not talk about that person with, different attributes. But I think more and more we have these conversations as a whole worldwide, the more prevalent, and we can get better to understanding. So thank you.
Awesome. What about you, Andrea, from your background?
Well, I was just, I grew up in a multi-generational home. So I had my grandmother and my mom, and, the lessons that they taught us and the way that they raised, I utilized those things. And I was a young mom, I had a baby at 17. So, they were walking me through, and I was also learning because there's really no set book, on how to parent, right? So it is, I was happy, but when the babies came, it was like buyer's remorse almost, because it's like this world can be such a horrible place, and I'm selfish. I want children, you know what I'm saying? And since I want them now, I'm brought these babies into this horrible world, and so feeling like that, being a first time parent, scared, hoping that I can get it right, hoping that I don't do any harm to my baby, mentally even, you know what I'm saying? Because they're going to live life as I know it. And it wasn't even, it got harder, as time went on, because I lost my grandma. We all moved into our own spots, and, it changed the whole trajectory. So all of that was scary. But my son Terrell, happy birthday, Terrell. He turned 41 today.
Very nice.
So I must have did something right. He's still alive and he's 41. So
Yeah. Sorry about that. I've just been handed a baby.
that's okay. When it comes to culture, it's just you learn what your family, if you have that, you know what I'm saying? That's what it was with us, is learning from the village, utilizing the village as a resource, because I had a lot of aunts and uncles that weren't my blood, you know what I'm saying? But, they played that role.
Yeah.
So that's all I could say as far as when it comes to the culture.
I think too, it also plays a factor in the dynamics of who is in your circle, who is in your tribe, if you will, because, for me, like I said, growing up, I was one of like 8 cousins. I was the only female. And so I had a strong male influence. And I think it's important, and I want Adam to touch on this as he is holding his pride and joy. We have to be mindful of the men and how it's impacted on the men, because yes, you're nurturing the mom, you're nurturing. Can someone mute, because I'm getting feedback on my side? Pardon me.
Yeah, Andrea, it's you.
Me. How am I muted?
No, not you. You're the Andrea.
Oh. I would say, that's what we have to be mindful of, is the men in it, the men in the life, with my family dynamic, it was the women who were the nurturers, but the men were the providers. But that's not the situation in all families. And what I learned growing up and being, a mother and so forth was that I needed that balance. I had to be mindful and cognizant of the men in the family because they can feel dismissed. That at times the child wants the mother, the child wants the father, and it's to be mindful and have awareness of how it's affecting the father, the male figures, the life impact and influence.
In my situation, the daddy wasn't there. So I was a single parent pretty much the whole time. And that's scary too. You know what I'm saying? I had to make all the decisions. I had to figure things out without the father. I had a grandfather who played a great role as a father. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we had the dynamics of, well, the man is the provider, because my grandmother had her own catering business. So, you know what I'm saying? It was a little different.
Yeah, well, I do actually want to. I don't like that feedback. Maybe if everyone mutes themselves. I don't know. Is that better?
It's still doing it.
It's still occurring.
I don't hear it.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I just think it's to do with the fact that when it comes with being a dad, we're excluded from all this. And my experience was it with Wyatt, of course, because obviously I know the NHS, which Andrea loves, of course. And there's, I know they're underfunded, and I know they are the system's broken. I get all that, but there's dads out there that have to fight for their rights, and it's understanding why, because of like domestic violence and stuff like that. But when there's dads out there that actually genuinely do care about their children, why should they have to fight? Why should they? Because there's mothers out there as well. It's not just dads, but it's mothers out there that abandon their children. And I know quite a few. So, but then straight away, once that mother abandons that child, straight away care system. Where's the opportunity for the dads out there? It doesn't happen. And this is me speaking from experience, because I was literally alienated from all this. And the treatment me, Kerry, and Wyatt received in hospital was absolutely disgusting. And this is why we're putting a complaint, because it's just wrong, and no one should have to go through that.
I don't understand either, and I could see what you're saying, because I know men, and in our community, as well as men in my lives who have had to fight. I mean, you're right. It does seem to be some kind of a bias.
Yeah.
Because my grandma used to say this: "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe." I never understood that until I got older.
But I think that's hold on. I'm gonna, because this is really loud on my end. Is I guess when somebody talks, everybody mute ourselves. Do you guys still hear it? Or is it just me?
Andrew Evans, it's you. Maybe when other people are talking, or someone else, like mute.
Yeah. So whoever's not
I'll just
talking,
go out. I'll just go out. I'll just drop off. I'll leave. I'll leave.
I'm confused now. Okay. But what I was saying is, I think we have to understand it's not a cutter situation. Some people aren't even registered with their children, whether Adam can appreciate this, they go into the system. And then what happens is grandparents raise their kids, caregivers, the system raise the children. So we have to be mindful that it's not a cookie cutter situation. So mental health and becoming a parent not only impacts the individuals and children, but it also impacts the parents. And as a parent, we have to be mindful of what it is or what it isn't, and have those discussions, those communal discussions within the family, within generations, as well as within their community.
Yeah.
Well, if I can pipe up here, I'm not echoing, am I?
No.
No.
Okay, that's good. I find the feedback I get from a lot of men is that they're starting to wake up to the fact that we all have a responsibility when it comes to parenting. So with that responsibility comes the same stresses. I mean, I can only speak from my son's point of view, but I see him taking a very, very active role being a parent. And it's a totally different paradigm, what do you say, mindset paradigm from my marriage with his father. So their cultural background too is also Latino, right? So I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but I think it's just a humanity thing. Like society has given us these roles for so long, and now it's starting to shift, which is a wonderful thing. That now that you have people like yourself, Adam, and the guests that we have come on, and the men that are speaking up and speaking out about their mental health is incredible. My next guest is going to be a TV personality that is going to be talking about his journey through his mental health issues and the stigma around that. And yeah, I would say that a lot of parents, I mean, that get diagnosed with like women who get diagnosed with the postpartum depression, there's a stigma against that. And I'm sure men must suffer from some sort of post birth, I don't know what you would call it, it's not postpartum, but depression as well. Is it called postpartum for men?
Postnatal, maybe?
Postnatal depression, isn't it? Kara?
I would think there would be a term out there.
Yeah, postnatal depression.
Yeah, that would make an excellent show to get a couple of men on here to talk about their depression through being a parent. I mean, that's got to affect men. Huge. I remember my ex-husband being depressed because he couldn't be intimate with me because I'm too busy nursing and tired and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I do admit, though, that I admit I've not been the best family man ever. And I get that up my hands up. But when I found out I was going to be a parent for the very first time, I turned to alcohol. I did. I turned to alcohol, and I was drinking heavily. I was always socializing, and the best thing Kerry ever did to me was pull me aside and basically said, "Pick and choose: social life or family life. It's that simple." And that's when I abandoned the social life.
Yeah, we're all nodding our head. Andrea's not on camera, but she's nodding her head too, and I get that. You know.
And now obviously I've gone 12 weeks without a drop. So doesn't make it that I'm gonna not drink altogether, because I am going to go back to it, but not as much as I used to.
Yeah. Well, the beautiful thing about life, right, and being a parent is, I like how Stella shared with us. She grew up with her children and learned how to be a parent.
Yeah.
We all don't come with instructions. Kids are all different. Parents are all different. We all think, act, respond to stimuli differently. And I remember the stress with my first child as a parent, and she was so colicky, my oldest daughter. Oh my God, I didn't think we were going to make it. And I had to call social services to help me. And there's no shame in that. If your mental health is that bad that you feel that you're neglecting or maybe possibly going to harm your child because of the way you're feeling, yeah, man, you reach out, you get help.
Yeah. See, I know people have bad experience with social workers, especially over here. It's not a positive experience. It's not. And I for one was mistreated by them. But yeah, it's like I do admit every state has different types of system. But
Well,
I
Canada's
just
got
got
a
the
pretty
UK's
good
one.
system. Canada's has its good and bad in every kind of system we have here. But I don't know, maybe I was one of the lucky ones who got a sympathetic one. I mean, I had neighbors call the police because my daughter wouldn't stop crying and they thought I was abusing her. And, you know, my ex-husband basically just lost his shit about with them, saying, what do you think we're doing? You know, we're not abusing our child, blah, blah, blah. But that in itself, with compounded with your mental health issues, is, you know, people are going to always struggle being a parent. There's no easy way of putting it. It's not all flowers and ponies.
Well, I want to pick up on that, Annette, and I want the Andreas to correct me, because I know Andrew Mason's going to shout me if I get this wrong, but I won't see it as us struggling. I'd see this as an experience through this, because we're all experiencing something. Like it's a new chapter in our life. It's part of our journey, which makes it part of our story, and that's how it all goes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I think it's tomato kind of thing.
Potato.
Because I really struggled. I struggled huge being a mother for first time. And you know, not every mother has the same experience either, right?
Same with fathers.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because obviously before I became a parent, I didn't know how to sterilize a bottle. I didn't even know you need a sterilizer to make bottles. I didn't know. I didn't even know how to hold a child or even change a nappy. I didn't know anything like that. I didn't know how to raise one. So this is all new experience, and how I've gone from looking after Katie in a contact centre, which was about 8 years ago, to now, it sticks with you, those paternal and maternal instincts. It sticks with you. So, yeah.
And I always was like a mom to my sisters, being the eldest. So I always think I had that motherly, you know what I mean, instinct in me. I mean, when I see the kids starving in Africa on TV, I would ask my grandmother and my mom if they would adopt one for me so I could take care of the baby.
Aww.
And I was only 13 trying to adopt a baby from Africa.
Beautiful. When I discovered I couldn't have any more children, and then being separated from my children, I wanted nothing more than to have another child, because children, like, initially it was a struggle, and as I learned, it got better. And this is like, I never even knew I had mental health issues way back then. So, you know, I got to give myself some credit and pat on the back that I made it through it, right?
Yeah. So go on, Andrea. What you have to say for this?
No, I believe it's all about perspective and perception. You know, struggle is something to so different to somebody else. Struggle is what you make of it, but you also create it. It's the energy goes where the focus, the energy flows where the focus goes. I always say that because that really rings true in a lot of things in life. And we don't have a manual of life. We don't have it, but it's, Andrea had talked about those kids in Africa on the TV. Well, hello everyone, that was me. I had a distended stomach from Colombia during the cartel, and I was 11 pounds at 11 months old. That's all. I barely made it. And so I think what really needs to be addressed here is becoming a new parent is, well, you look at your life. Everybody has their life through different lenses, right? Even a sibling in the same household can look at lifestyle differently. And you look
Yes.
at it, and when you
Absolutely.
look at the positives of your life, what do I want more of? What did my parents value? What did my parents embrace? What did my parents treasure and give to me? I want to provide that for my children. And if I don't know how, then I'm just going to believe and have faith. And then
Yeah.
when we look at the tragedies of life, I'm a victim of abuse and bullying. If you looked at what you don't want, it all goes back to really the reflection of self awareness and personal and professional development. And there's no right or wrong way. And going back to what we said a few moments ago with Adam, cultures are different. What you may see acceptable in one culture may not be for others. They talk about Europe, in Italy and Spain, children having wine at the table at a young age. It's
Yeah, they do
about
that
the
in Argentina.
environment. It's the environment that you can learn. And the way we love is from what we learn, good or bad. And we must keep that in mind.
Awesome. Right. I'm going to pick on you now, Andrea. I really am. I have to. You brought up about wanting to talk about the education system. So let's go into that. But I'm going to bring a twist to it. And oh, here we go. Carrie's going to press pause here on the telly. Yeah, she's still watching telly. But, but you mentioned that you're a victim of bullying and abuse. Do you not think you're a survivor of abuse and bullying rather than being a victim? But that's the first part of the question. The second part is, and this is to all of you as well, is when your child goes into that first school for the very first time, or nursery, preschool, whatever you call it over where you are, what mindset do you have by using your trauma from how you was dealt with to how you think your child's going to be experiencing?
Excellent question. So I don't I talk about being a victim, but I don't consider myself one. As survivor, yes, absolutely. My sister Andrea Evans is also a survivor. We're the warriors.
We're all survivors.
We're all survivors. But what I think is really pertinent when we go into the school system and education, as Adam so likes to bring that in, and the system, is I go about it with the precipice and the pre-notion of, hey, this is the worst or can be worse of what is experienced and what is happening. So I'm going to be transparent. I was raised the way I never, and it's not anything to anybody else. This is how I was raised. When you talk to children, you get down eye level and you have a conversation just like I'm talking to a 30-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 70-year-old. You talk to them. And so what I would say when I'm coaching families, children, women, or what have you, of trauma and drama, you know what? This is what I've been through. This is what I've experienced. This is what the potential of what can be happening. But the twist that I put on it, and Adam, you'll appreciate this, is what is the solution? What can you do about it? What can you walk in there with your mindset of motivation, mastery, and knowing that you are a survivor, not fight or flight, because that can take you which way, but you're going to get through this, and this too shall pass.
Mm.
Love what you had to say, Andrea.
Thank you.
What do you think of that?
You know, I never use the word survivor, um, only because I don't want to look at my life as I survived being a parent. I survived incest. I survived blah, blah, whatever, all the traumas that I experienced or joys that I experienced. Because being a parent was a struggle for me. But as I had each child, it got easier. But the love, oh my God. Like, being a parent can stress you out mentally. If I had the tools I have today, the awareness and the awakening and the learned behaviors I had and everything I know today, and I could step back and be my 20-year-old self again, oh my God, it would have been such a breeze to be a mother. But that's not how life plays out, right? So if we could educate our youth, and of course, they don't listen. I've been having a long talk with a good friend of mine who is raising 2 stepchildren, and they're both experiencing a lot of things around sexual promiscuity. And it's really, for me, it's scary because those people, those girls, young girls, don't understand their dangers, right? And we've all been there. We've all done this kind of stuff as a parent, and we worry, and it gets on our. It always comes back to, how to try to control them. But when we get to a certain age, we start exploring. I know I'm going off on a totally different tangent here, but
You
just bear
go.
with me. But to know, uh,
If you want to rant about this, but you rant about this, you won't be the
well,
first to rant.
It's just so important to me that we don't look at ourselves as victims. Like, I love how Andrea says, I'm not a victim. We are not victims of who we were because we were growing into the people we are today, right? So all we can do is our best to be a parent. My parents, if I want to label it as something, why I had no learning experience as being a parent when I had my first daughter, was because I had no positive examples. So, but there was something inside of me intuitively that knew that I had to love this child. I had to love myself, and I had to love my partner so that I could make this work, right? Not everyone has that type of intuition and can make it through these things. And, that's unfortunate. And we're just all trying to do the best we can with what we have.
My grandmother
Mhm.
and my mother taught us that we are not grown. When I had my baby, I said, I'm grown. And they're like, no, you're not grown. That means you're stagnant, right? You want to keep learning in this life. And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everything we go through, we're learning from it, we're growing from it. So we call it, instead of saying maybe being a victim or any of that, maybe say, you don't have to say you're a survivor. You don't have to say any of that stuff. Just say, I'm
I
a
experienced.
I'm a warrior. I'm a learning warrior. I'm learning, right? Just be a learning warrior and don't be what you think. That's what helps me out.
And
Yeah,
I
I
think
like how.
oh, go ahead, Annette. Pardon me.
Oh, thanks. No, and I liked that Adam pointed out, we are experiencing, and it's 100% true. We are experiencing, and we do experience these labels as victims, survivor. It doesn't matter. They're just words. It's what you do about it, right?
Absolutely. And words are spells, unfortunately. If we haven't overcome and personally and professionally developed, we identify ourselves as those words given to it, positive or negative. And something
Yeah.
I said a few months ago is anything you've experienced, achieved, or overcome gives you the certification to help another achieve it as well. And I think that's where we stay here as individuals, as the quadrants, that every, so I can loop everybody, as Adam says, every experience, as Annette says, is a learning experience. As Andreas says, is the warrior path. And I'll add that helps us rise and unite as opposed to conquer and divide. And it's not that Adam had a better childhood, Annette had a better child because she had two parents. Andrea had a difficult childhood because her parents were there, but she did have strong matriarchal women. I didn't have parents. I came in at 11 months old and was raised with unconditional love. I don't know my parents. I don't have pictures, nothing of them. So everybody's different on this panel. And then once we realize what makes us different, allows us to be authentic and unite, that's when we become the first coach, the first coaches. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are our first coach to our children. The way
Yeah.
they love is the
Yeah.
way they learn. So we have to emulate. We be the role models, good, bad, and indifferent. We make mistakes. That's what makes us not perfect. We're always
Yeah.
working towards progression, constant proactivity, constant, passion and purity leads to progression. And if we keep that mindset, then we thrive.
Yeah.
Driving authenticity.
Yeah, like what Stella says, we're still learning life and how to maneuver in the world. And that's true too. I hope I'm still learning taking my last breath, and
And that never hope you're learning. Believe it.
no, I know I am. Wrong
Yes,
word,
yes.
but
Faith, have faith. And that's
yeah.
what
I'll
Socrates
probably
Have
says.
a
be
little
asking the
faith,
doctor
faith,
something.
faith.
Oh, can you
Have a
do
little
something?
faith.
It's
Oh,
too funny.
but yeah, Socrates said on his deathbed, all that I know is I know nothing.
Yes, exactly. I
Exactly.
I met a really interesting gentleman the other day. I went to a meditation practice and we did this past life regression stuff, hypnosis, and fascinating stuff. And I wondered how I would feel about doing it because of, putting my trust into something that was unfamiliar. But I'm an open book. I'm willing to learn something that I've never experienced before. And so, if maybe if we could all be a little more open to just going with the flow, maybe as a parent, maybe if I went more with the flow, I wouldn't have struggled so much. But I had control issues.
We have to learn how to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
What helped me with the control issue was something Dwayne Wade said, because he has a child who identifies as LGBTQIA 2+ community. And he said, we're facilitators, you know. It kind of took the load off for me. I wish I would have looked at it more that way instead of trying to be so controlling. It didn't fare well for me because my children are pretty much all adults now. You see what I'm saying? So I had to learn at some point, you know what, you're just here to facilitate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they
Yeah,
needed some, need some words, I'll give it to them. If that they need some teaching, I'll give it to them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not all up in there riding up and down the street, going up to people's houses. You're not answering your phone. See, that used to be me. So
yeah,
I've learned not to do that. Life is easier too.
right.
Life is how you make it.
That's
Yeah.
right. And we are
Quality
what
of
we
Yeah.
think
learning and
too.
self-love. Yeah, it
We're
starts with
definitely what we think.
Yeah, Wayne Dyer says that. And then secret thoughts become things. And what we have to also be mindful too is that, you know, what everybody wants in this world, to be quite honest, regardless of how they express it, is they just want to be loved and unconditionally loved and understood. And if you can step
Yeah.
into your day every single way, as soon as your feet hit the floor and your head hits the pillow, knowing in that in between those dashes, in between the due dates of our lives, that's all we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not throwing a laughing about you guys. It's what Kerry's just done, because Wyatt's just been screaming non-stop, and she went into the kitchen to get a dummy for him, gave him me, I cuddled him, and now he's fast asleep, just like that. Daddy's touch, that's all it takes.
Nice. Well, a big shout out to Carrie. I mean, the two of you, it's amazing. You know, your parents, which we haven't even talked on this, your parents to not one, but two already children that are autistic. And
We are.
that in itself is very challenging, amazing, because I love autistic people. I love all people,
it's not just raising two autistic children, it's raising two autistic children on our own with literally no help around us. We've got nobody, not one person. So, and raising three, and the way Wyatt's behaving, he's gonna be on the verge. There's that high chance, but we won't love him any less.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we should wrap up. I think.
Okay. It was fun.
Yeah. Let's wrap up. So, any closing information from each of you to inspire people?
Have self-care being a parent. Some form of self-care. Even if it's 10 minutes, just take that breather, you know. The baby is okay for 10 minutes for you to sit down and just read something or have a coffee or talk to a friend on the phone. Take the time out as a new parent for your mental health's sake. Take a break.
Yeah. Obviously, I have to say, if your baby is asleep, you sleep. You sleep. That's what I do.
Yep.
When I can. Right, Andreas?
All right, go ahead. I would say the most powerful thing is becoming a new parent, regardless of your support system, your family, your loved ones, your whoever's in your village. Definitely say effective communication, effective listening. We are not mind readers. Just like connections within the family, just like the connections within your home, society, your company, your affiliates, even strangers. You have to allow yourself to feel in order to heal. So speak up. And there's a reason why you have two eyes, two ears, and one mouth. It's effective listening, not to respond, not to react, but to respond.
Andrea, you're on mute.
Okay, listening. I always heard, don't listen to respond. Just listen. That's what I learned in social work. You just listen, and if they ask for a response, I guess you give it to them. That's what I've learned with my children. I'm always trying to respond. That's my thing. I'm calling myself out on this, and so now I don't. I listen and just listen and be, in that moment of receiving what they're sharing with me and letting them share. Again, to me, that's a part of being mindful of the facilitation that I'm putting into the work with my, of communicating with my children. But I just say live and learn. Live and learn, y'all.
And live and let learn. And live and
Yes,
let live.
live and let learn.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention about my next show, which is this coming Wednesday, the 13th at 1 p.m. Canada time, 6 p.m. UK time. I have a guest named Travis Simpkins, and he's going to be talking about his mental health journey, the stigma around bipolar disorder, and he's going to talk about his upcoming book. So he's a TV personality in England, actually. So I hope you'll tune in. You're on mute, Adam.
My bad. Say 9 p.m. UK next week. We are back, and we've actually got Kerry coming on.
Yay!
We've got Kerry, and we're going to be talking about the effects of BPD, borderline personality disorder.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I'll tune in for that one for sure.
Yeah, that's at 9 p.m. UK. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's the wrap. So I hope you all have an amazing day. It's like
Thank you.
10 to 9 here.
Well, get some rest. Good seeing you both, Andreas.
Take care, Annette.
Take care. Bye,
Right.
Andrea.
See you
Bye.
later.
Thanks for being here.